Shrek's Extraordinary Adventures. Created from the mind of Herbert, Shrek, Fiona, and Donkey were coming home from a party where they all had a little too much to drink. Drunken Shrek and Donkey were having an argument about how every time Donkey comes over he makes everything smell like dick. Shrek was getting very angry at Donkey, but Donkey wouldn't shut the hell up. Shrek's anger grew until he snapped. Shrek completely obliterated Donkey with one punch. Then he grabbed Donkey by the tail and paws and ripped his skin from the asshole, peeling him like an onion, to the mouth, leaving it attached purely by the lips. Then the enraged ogre popped Donkey's balls in his mouth and ate them like grapes. When the rage in Shrek's eyes had subsided, he realized the unspeakable act he had done. Shrek and Fiona hid the bloody body in a ditch. Shrek and Fiona traveled home in an awkward silence. When they got home, Shrek wanted sex, but Fiona said, "You killed your best friend in front of me and all you are worried about is fucking me." Shrek replies with, "Okay, I'll do it myself." Shrek then begins to rub on his ogre dick until he comes and nuts so hard he blows a hole in his sheets. As soon as Shrek busts, the ground began to shake and Donkey's wife, the dragon, was at the door. Shrek gets up and attempts to hide the fact he has a raging boner from the dragon at the door. The dragon asks Shrek where is Donkey. Shrek replies with, "He didn't make it home yet. Something must be wrong, you should check the pub." The dragon left with suspicion in her longing eyes. She went on the road to the pub looking for her husband. She found him ripped into 2 pieces. She was out for revenge on Shrek. She arrived at Shrek's swamp with her strange donkey-dragon hybrids. The dragon was too large to go straight in like the children did. The donkey dragons, having gone through the chimney, began their assault on Shrek. Fiona popped up with a frying pan and beat 2 of them out of the air. Some of the other dragon donkeys snatched one of the ogre babies and ate it. This made Shrek angry. He grabbed one of the donkey dragons by the tail and then the head and ripped it in half. While this happens, the big dragon finally breaks through the ceiling. She goes to bite Shrek, but he jumps under the table and the dragon bites the table instead of him. Shrek grabs the ogre babies and runs for the door, but the dragon breathes fire at the door. Shrek, seeing this, instead jumps out the window and keeps running. When Shrek realized he was no longer being followed by the dragon, he turned around and looked at the fireball that was once his home and thought, "Shit, Fiona is still in the house, I guess my remaining children will have to grow up without a mother." Back at the burning house, Fiona, who was now on fire, got cornered by the dragons and they began to eat her like a turkey dinner. After all this, Shrek, being a good father, traveled to the nearest village, just to get hammered. The bar Shrek went into did not allow children, so the ogre babies would have to patiently wait in an alleyway. Grief-stricken Shrek hired a hooker and bought some cocaine to help him forget. While Shrek was doing lines off the hooker's ass, the dragon found his children and instead of killing the children she poured alcohol on them, and then loaded them into a catapult, lit them on fire and launched them at an orphanage. Shrek came out of the motel, dick still erect and covered in blood, just in time to see his last 2 children fly straight through the window of the orphanage. He ran up behind the large dragon, without his pants on. He grabbed the dragon's hardtail and pulled on it like he pulled on the hooker's hair last night. The dragon turns around just to see a large ogre dick in her face. Instinctively she opens her mouth and the ogre dick slides in. The dragon then roasts a hot dog in her mouth. Shrek says, "The warmth of your fire makes my long schlong longer, daughter," while he forces his dick down her throat even more, causing her jaw to crack. Shrek hears the audible crack and pushes it even harder, until the Drago's bottom jaw comes completely off. With his dick tearing through her throat, Shrek lets out a scream and comes out green news. With their mother dead, the donkey dragon babies flew away in fear that Shrek would kill them as well. Shrek ran from the police until the cocaine and alcohol wore off and he could feel pain again. The pain of his scorched dick was so great that he had to make a cast for his dick and put mud on it to cool it down. While he was cooling his dick down, a swamp monster came up from the mud and bit his dick. He jumped up and ripped the swamp monster open like he did to Donkey. His dick, now scared and burned, remained hard even after its trauma. While this was happening, the hooker's pimp, Ginny, was investigating where his hoe went. He found a bloody hotel room. In the room was a body that had its pelvis literally ripped in half by something. Also in and on the body was green news. Pimp Ginny had the misfortune of stepping on said news and falling into it. Ginny stands up and says, "Get me the best bounty hunter there is. I want the ogre dead. And I want it done now." They then hear, "I will take the job, if the price is right." "Who are you?" Ginny exclaims. The voice says, "It is I." As Pussy in Boots come out from on top of the fridge with the bottle of whiskey. "What's your price?" "I'll do it for free. I just need the closure of killing Shrek," Pussy states matter-of-factly. Ginny says, "Okay then, get to it, then." Pussy walks out and takes a big swig of the whiskey, then throws it across the street, and jumps onto the roofs. While Shrek is walking through the woods, Pussy comes up behind him and gives a colonoscopy with his sword. Shrek turns around and screams bloody murder, and tears the sword out of his ass and throws it at the kitty. The cat jumped over the throw and landed on the hilt and grabbed it and charged at the ogre. Shrek turns quickly and smacks Pussy in the face with his dick. Pussy falls and slices across Shrek's leg. Shrek spins around and launches the cat with the stick. The cat hits a tree and coughs up blood. Shrek runs over and grabs the pussy by the throat and says, "Who sent you?" Pussy says, "Here, let me tell you a story." Subscribe for part 2, thanks for making it to the end. If you do not like, we will not be feeding the pet food to Herbert tonight, yeet.